to be able to just make a choice on your own and just be able to speak for yourself.
This one's wife. Loose Cannon Louis. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. The youngest member of the Wales family, Prince Louis, has certainly started to carve out a reputation for himself as being a bit of a loose cannon. And with that comes many people that find him both entertaining and endearing. As mentioned elsewhere, the commemorative proceedings have begun in respect of the commemoration of VE Day, Victory in Europe Day, which occurred 80 years ago. And the Prince and Princess of Wales and their 3 children, Princess Charlotte, Prince George and Prince Louis, made an appearance at the VE Day celebrations. Let's have a look at the loose cannon in full effect. We've seen before that the young prince has developed something of a reputation for getting bored rather quickly, as you might expect for a young child at events which would be rather boring for him. And we have seen in the past the way that he has behaved in a somewhat cheeky fashion. Here, he mimics his older brother George as George moves his hair, and something that Louis picks up on and then mimics him doing that very act. This was captured by the cameras, but even more so, it was then reported on widely by the press. Just a selection of headlines tell us: People.com, Prince Louis pulls on Prince William's uniform. London Evening Standard, Prince Louis steals the show at VE Parade. HuffPost, Prince Louis predictably steals the show. The Independent, Watch, Prince Louis steals the show on VE Day. Daily Mail, Prince Louis and Kate delight royal fans at VE Day celebrations. Sky News, Prince Louis mimics brother Prince George at VE Day. The Independent, Prince Louis hilariously mimics older brother George at VE celebrations. BBC, Watch, Prince Louis steals the show as royals mark VE Day. Sky News Australia, Prince Louis' cheeky antics steal the show at VE Day. InStyle.com, Prince Louis steals the show yet again at surprise VE Day appearance. Global News, Prince Louis' antics steal the show again. Town and Country magazine, Prince George, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis sit front row at VE Day celebrations. New York Post, Prince Louis tugs on Prince William's uniform, makes silly faces. Today.com, Prince Louis steals show at parade for VE Day, and on it goes. The young royal ensuring that he's getting plenty of column inches as a consequence of his cheeky behaviour. That was just one member of the Wales' clan. We just recently had Princess Charlotte's birthday and an endearing picture of her appearing in the press. But Prince George wasn't to be outshone. As reported by the Telegraph, he's a future king and future head of the armed forces. He's also 11 years old. On VE Day, under the guiding hand of his parents, Prince George took his next step towards his future life of duty with a carefully crafted appearance designed for him to listen and learn. The prince took part in his most significant official royal engagement to date, marking the 80th anniversary of the end of the war in Europe, proving himself to be a curious student and an able host at a tea party for Second World War veterans. No stranger to the public eye, having been on the front pages of newspapers, leading television bulletins around the world since his birth, Prince George nevertheless took a notable step in honour of the remaining few serving men and women who remember how their war ended in 1945. You know, it's very important you are here today, Alfred Littlefield, a 101-year-old D-Day veteran, told him. It's days like this that we should use to talk about things like this, so the younger generations can have some understanding. There aren't many of us left. Turning to Prince William, Mr. Littlefield added, "You should be very proud." Prince George's appearance at the Buckingham Palace event was not expected. The King, the Queen, the Prince and Princess of Wales, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, the Princess Royal and Vice Admiral Sir Tim Lawrence and the Duke of Kent were on the list to be there, along with the Prime Minister, the Leader of the Opposition, Kemi Badenoch, and a contingent of Second World War veterans looked after by the Royal British Legion. After Prince George, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis joined the royal family to watch the military procession in front of the palace, it was expected that the children would retire for the day. But Prince George, his father said, was very keen to hear more. "What was it like when you were coming in?" he asked Mr. Littlefield, who swam onto a beach during the Normandy landings under heavy shelling. "Pretty awful," came the reply. The Princess of Wales introduced him to 99-year-old Charles Auburn, a gunner in the 90th City of London Regiment, saying, "This is my son George I was telling you about." Mr. Auburn showed him photographs of the M4 Sherman tanks he operated during the war, with George asking, "Were they hard to operate? It must have been very tough with the weather." Dougie Hyde, 99, who joined the Merchant Navy in 1944, aged 18, said afterwards that the Prince, who had asked him if he'd ever been shot at or saw a U-boat, was very polite and listened with interest. Laughing, the Princess told one veteran that her son, who likely has a future in the armed forces, would have to practice his shooting like you. The event was a small but significant step for the schoolboy prince, with rare words in front of the cameras and even a rarer appearance outside the full family unit. While the public is used to seeing the young princes and princess together at family events, Sandringham, carol concerts, and the occasional special engagement, this was the first sign of the firstborn Wales at centre stage. Chaperoned closely by his parents and heard to ask Papa questions throughout the day, the prince seemed to take it in his stride. Not since the late Queen Elizabeth II was alive have 3 generations of the royal family worked together at such an event. The king, his heir, and his heir's heir. It underlined the royal family's commitment to the armed forces and the thread of continuity that they can provide. Accordingly, whilst Louis might have been stealing the headlines as a consequence of his cheeky antics, it was older brother George that demonstrated an increasing maturity and received favourable coverage of his politeness and respect that he demonstrated to veterans at the tea party that he attended. Contrast this with the behaviour of this one's wife. Whilst her children are younger than George, Charlotte and Louis, they too have the titles of Prince and Princess, and yet they have no involvement with the royal family, either in terms at a familial level, as a consequence of the ostracisation that the Narcissist has imposed upon them. They have no choice in the matter. She has prevented them from getting to know the members of the royal family, and they operate in no capacity whatsoever as working members by virtue of the fact that they are in the United States and a conscious decision taken by their parents to remove them from the working element of the royal family. And yet, unlike George, Charlotte and Louis, who undertake appearances with their family as part of their parents' duties as working members of the royal family, Archie and Lilibet are commoditised by this one's wife. We don't see them appearing at any events. We simply see the back of their heads, or a foot, or a hand, or hear a voice, and even in those circumstances, it appears somewhat suspect as to whether you're actually hearing their voices. The fact is that the appearance of Prince Louis, demonstrating his cheeky side, and the increasing maturity of Prince George will have been noticed by this one's wife, because she cannot help but focus upon the Waleses, because she sees that as the family that she ought to be. She doesn't want to be a working member of the royal family, but she wants the prominence, she wants the fame, she wants the adoration that comes with it. She wants her children to be regarded in the same way, albeit they can't, because she won't let them do what the Wales's children do. Whilst the news is not repeatedly peppered with appearances of the Wales's children, when they do appear, we see them actually doing things, walking around, talking to people, being with their parents, unlike the snapshots that are provided by this one's wife in a carefully controlled environment, which is done under the auspices of apparently protecting the children. Instead, it just results in ridicule and people rightfully pointing out that she just uses the children as props. This, as I've explained to you, is a consequence of her narcissism. The appearance of the three Wellesley's children will have irritated this one's wife, and in particular the favourable coverage of Louis's cheeky activity and also of Prince George attending the tea party. It will have infuriated her that the Wales's children are looked upon so favourably that they're getting the headlines, whereas in relation to her own children it just tends to be question marks about why we only ever see the backs of their head and is it really them in the photographs. This is a reaction which provides her with fuel, but it's challenge fuel and not something that she wants compared to the admiration that is received for the Wales's children. The VE commemorations are not something that she or Harry are involved in, to Harry's disgrace, and furthermore, it provides an opportunity for the Wales children to be seen and demonstrate the contrast of the way that the Sussexes behave in relation to their children. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for watching.